Please sit in any comfortable meditative posture with your hands on your knees in Jnana or Chin Mudra, the head, neck, shoulders, back, all in a straight line, eyes and mouth gently closed. Become aware of the whole body from the top of your head to your toes. Awareness of your head, neck, shoulders, arms, chest, upper back, abdomen, lower back, hips, both the legs, the whole body. Shift your awareness to your breath, awareness of the spontaneous, natural breathing process. Couple it with awareness. I am breathing in, and now I am aware I am breathing in. I am breathing out, and I am aware I am breathing out. Let this be the form of your awareness for some time. Shift your awareness to your eyebrow center, Bhrumadhya, and at the Bhrumadhya, visualize the form of your Guru or your Ishtadevata or a brightly burning candle flame. Choose any one of the three and become aware of this image, this experience at the eyebrow center. And maintaining the awareness of this experience, we shall chant the mantra Om 3 times together, followed by the Shanti mantras. Taking in a deep breath. Om Sahanavavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu Ma Vidvishavahai. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om. Keeping your eyes closed for a few moments, bring your awareness back to the eyebrow center, Bhrumadhya. Experience the vibrations of the mantra chanting at the eyebrow center. And from here, they are radiating to the entire personality. And now gently bring your palms together, rub them against each other, generate some warmth. Place the palms on the closed eyes and then experience the warmth radiating from the palms to the eyes, relaxing and energizing the eyes, the brain, the whole body. And then gently move the palms away, open your eyes. Hari Om, Tat Sat, Namo Narayan. So, a warm welcome to the Swadhyaya Satra. This is a very special and opportune moment. During the Chaturmas, we are beginning our Swadhyaya. And this Swadhyaya happens to be beginning on the day of Ekadashi itself. So this is a very opportune moment. And to begin, let us invoke the grace of Guru with the Satguru Vandana, because it is only to the grace of Guru that we are able to receive the blessings. Kabir Das ji had said, Guru Govind dono khade, काके लागों पाए, बलिहारी गुरु आपनी गोविंद दियो मिलाए. If Guru and Govind both are in front of me, whom should I offer pranams first? He says, I will offer pranam first to Guru, because only through the Guru can I have the darshan of Govind. So let us offer our pranam to the Guru Tattva with a short bhajan dedicated to Guru. Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram, Shri Ram Jaya Ram Jaya Jaya Ram. Bhavasagar taran karana he, Ravinandana bandana khandana he, Sharanagata kara Itamane Gurudeva Daya Karadi Rudi Kandara Tamasa Bhaskara he, Tuma Vishnu Prajapati Shankara he, Parabrahma Parapara Veda Bhane Gurudeva Daya Karadi Manavarana Karana Ankusha he, Naratrana Kare Hari Chachush he, Gunadana Parayana Deva Gane Guru Deva Daya Kara Kula Kundal Toma Bhanja Kahe, Rudhi Granthi Vidarana Karana he, Mahima Tava Gochara Shuddhamane Guru Deva Daya Kara Dina Jana. Abhimana Prabhava Vimartaka he, Ati Dina Jane Tumara Rakshaka he, Manakampita Vanchita Bhakti Dhane Guru Deva Daya Kara Dina Jane. Ripu Sudana Mangala Nayaka he, सुख शांति वरा भयदायक हे प्रयताप हरे तव नाम गुणे गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जने तव नाम सदा सुख साधक हे पतिता धम मानव पावक हे मम मानस चंचल रात्रि दिने गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जने जय सद्गुरु ईश्वर प्रापक हे भवरोग विकार विनाशक हे मन लीन रहे तव श्री चरणे गुरुदेव दया कर दीन जने श्री राम जय जय राम 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 जय राम Gently keep your awareness on the eyebrow center. Visualize the image of Guru, the benevolent form of Gurudev, who is the Tapatraya Nashak, who is the one who brings us from darkness to light. Let us offer our pranam, our humble dedication and tribute to Guru. As we begin our journey of Swadhyaya, let us pray to Guru to grant us the strength to walk this path, because there will be trials and tribulations. Mama manasa chanchala hai. Our minds are extremely fickle and they are going to bring in some difficulties sometime or the other. O Gurudev, grant me the strength that I can endure them and still walk the path. Grant me the wisdom so that I can understand the subtle aspects of the knowledge. And grant me your grace, without which the third eye cannot open. So with this prayer to Guru, let us begin our sadhana Swadhyaya Satra. Today is the first day of our Swadhyaya Satra, and we are going to speak about the first chapter of the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, Samadhi Path. Many of you, almost all of you, are yoga practitioners from many years. And I'm sure that you would have encountered this term, the Yoga Sutras. In fact, these sutras are considered so important that the entire Yoga Darshan is equated with these sutras. And today, we shall begin our journey of discovery of these sutras. But before we begin, I think a little bit of an introduction to the subject of yoga and of the Yoga Sutras is very essential. The Yoga Sutras were compiled by Maharshi Patanjali. Maharshi Patanjali was a versatile genius, and he is credited with many texts which were path-breaking. Those of you who have studied Patanjali and studied about Patanjali would know. But we need to know that he is not the author. He is not the person who created these science of yoga. The science of yoga predates Patanjali, and he has clearly mentioned about it. So where did this science of yoga come about? And what is this science of yoga? If we look at the Bhagavad Gita, in the Bhagavad Gita, Lord Krishna in the 4th chapter has mentioned Vivaswan Manave Praha Manurikshva Kave Bravi. In the past, this knowledge of yoga was given by me to Vivaswan, and from there it came on. And Arjun was confused. He says, "Oh Krishna, you are born much later, and Vivaswan, the son, is so much earlier. So how do you say that you have given this information to him?" And at that time, Krishna says that nor is this my first birth, nor is it yours. The only difference is I remember about it and you have forgotten. I am not this body. I am that eternal principle which is beyond the body, beyond the senses, beyond the mind, the transcendental principle. And it is this knowledge which was passed on across generations. And then, due to passage of time, this knowledge went back into the background. And that is why I am revealing it once again to you. And what is this knowledge? This knowledge is the essence of extraction of all the Vedic and Tantric knowledge. Sarvopanishado Gavo Dogdha Gopala Nandana. He extracted knowledge from all different places and presented it to Arjuna. And this knowledge was the knowledge of a practical approach. Vedanta gives you the information that there is something which is transcendental. Call it Brahman, call it Hiranya Garbha. You can give it any name. And how to experience that ultimate reality, the eternal principle, that is the basis of Vedanta. But Vedanta speaks about the truth, the permeating, all pervading consciousness. It is yoga which gives you specific steps how to move in that direction, how to transcend the body, how to transcend the senses, how to transcend the mind, and then come face to face or experience that ultimate truth. Through Vedanta, we can understand, and very few people have the ability where as they go about reading it, chanting it, the energy comes in and spontaneously change happens within them. For most of us, it is impossible. So what do? Then we need to have a tool. That tool is yoga. In college, I'm sure many of you would remember, we had two types of education. One was a theory education given to us in the classroom, and the other was a practical education which was given to us in the practical laboratories. And we had two types of texts. We had a theory book and we had the practical manual. Yoga is the practical manual. When you go to the lab, you have the manual, reading which you know this is the step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4, step 5. This is how I go in. This is what I do. This is the problem which can come. So I have to be careful. Everything is mentioned in the practical lab manual. Yoga is that practical lab manual. And Patanjali Yoga Sutras are also considered to be the practical manual. And when you are doing the practical, you cannot afford to have big, long, verbose instructions. They need to be precise. They need to be clear. They need to be short because you need to perform them. And you will see that is the reason why these are sutras. What is the definition of sutra? Swalpaksharam asamdigdham saravat vishwato mukham astobham anavadyam cha sutram sutra vido vidu. Swalpaksharam, very short, precise. Asamdigdham, no scope of ambiguity. Saravat, it contains the essence of the entire world. Astobham, it doesn't create any confusion. Anavadyam cha, it doesn't leave any space for any other thing to happen except its precise thing mentioned there. That is Sutram, Sutra, Vido, Vidu. That is the definition of Sutra. So these are the sutras which are given. And regarding Patanjali, many people have spoken, like I mentioned in the beginning, that perhaps this is so vast a topic and a subject that it has been equated with yoga. It has been equated with something very powerful. But what is yoga? If we really want to understand what is yoga and what does Patanjali Yoga Sutras want us to achieve, I think we need not go any further than the title of the commentary by Gurudev Swami Satyananda. Swami Satyananda ji wrote a commentary on the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, but he did not call it the commentary on Patanjali Yoga. What did he call it? He called it the 4 chapters of freedom. The 4 chapters of freedom. Patanjali Yoga has got 4 padas, 4 sections. And Swamiji called these sections as a chapter, and each chapter speaks about freedom. So Patanjali Yoga is all about freedom. What is freedom from? Freedom from pain, sorrow, suffering, physical infirmities, mental fluctuations, emotional imbalance. Freedom from all of that, and connecting to that highest reality which we ourselves are. That is what Patanjali Yoga Sutras are. And that is going to be the text, which will be the base text, the commentary by Sri Swamiji on Patanjali Yoga Sutras. And before we go ahead, in any scriptural text, as we begin, there are few points which come in, which we need to understand. And in all scriptures, it is mentioned as the Anubandha Chatushtay, the 4 factors which we need to understand before we start these lectures. Actually, it is not a lecture, it is a practical session. Because to speak of Patanjali and not to practice it is almost an insult to the treatise, because the treatise is meant as a practical application. Yoga is a practical application. So this is not a lecture, but this is an introduction to imbibing this practical knowledge in our lives. But when we begin this, we need to know this Anubandha Chatushtay. What is the Anubandha Chatushtay? Any text speaks of who is the adhikari, who is fit to study this text. And for this text, it is mentioned, the Anubandha, the adhikari is one who has been hit by the miseries of the world, which is known as the Tapatraya, Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, Adhyatmik Tap. These have burnt him, made him miserable, and he doesn't know what to do. If he is aware that there is something beyond, and he has heard or she has heard somewhere that, oh, yoga can give a way. A person who has that desire to know, a person who has that knowledge that, oh, there is something beyond, that is who that person is, the adhikari. What is the subject matter? The subject matter is experiencing that highest reality known as Brahman in the Vedantic philosophy. And what are the steps to reach there? And while reaching there, what are the difficulties and how do we overcome them? That is the subject matter. What is the prayojan? The objective is to help the adhikari purush to walk that path and transcend and realize that highest self which is there within us. And what is the sambandh? Each of them help each other. Without the adhikari, the vishay is of no use. And without the adhikari and vishay, the prayojan is of no use. So all of these 3 are interrelated, and only through this interrelation can we move ahead step by step. So this is, in short, what Patanjali is all about. Patanjali is not about asan, pranayam, yam, niyam, asan, pranayam, pratyahar, dharana, dhyan, samadhi. And this is the eightfold path and we reach there. No, Patanjali is much, much more than that. It is the essence. Some people say it is the psychology of the Vedic philosophy. Some people say that Patanjali yoga begins where psychology ends. But one thing is for sure, yoga is something which is a very powerful tool by which one can free oneself from the physical, mental, emotional, social, and spiritual problems which we face. This is also seen in the Bhagavad Gita. When we begin the Bhagavad Gita, Arjun, the foremost warrior, he has gone into a nervous breakdown. He wants to run away. He doesn't want to fight because it's inappropriate, blah, blah, blah. At that point, when my mind has confused me, then what do? It is then that yoga comes in my life. Yoga does not come in my life when I have achieved everything. No, that is a culmination. To begin, when I am in a nervous breakdown, when I am dilapidated, when I am broken, I am down and out. That is where yoga comes in our life. And that is why Bhagavad Gita is a yoga shastra. At the end of every chapter, it is mentioned, Iti Srimad Bhagavad Gitasu Upanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastri Shri Krishnarjuna Samvade, whichever Adhyaya Yogo Nama, whichever Adhyaya. It is Yogo Nama. It is the yoga because it is a practical application. And that is what we have to remember. In the Swadhyaya Satra orientation, we mentioned that what is the methodology? The methodology is Shravan, Manan, Nididhyasan. You have to hear about it. You have to ponder over it. You have to analyze. You have to understand. And you have to imbibe and integrate and assimilate that knowledge within you. If the assimilation and then execution in real life doesn't take place, then yoga is of no use. The culmination of yoga in Bhagavad Gita is that depressed Arjun gets up and says, yes, Nashto Moham Smrutir Labdhva. All my infatuation, all my confusions have gone. I have now understood and now I move ahead with full knowledge into action. So yoga is something which allows us to move into action. And if we wish to have the highest and optimal benefit of yoga, we need to start imbibing it bit by bit. And that is why we are going at a very slow pace so that it gives us an opportunity to understand it in context of my reality. The ultimate reality is one, but we are in our individual reality. So in my individual reality, what is the meaning of that? How do I relate to it? How do I make it relevant to my life? If I'm facing a irate boss, if I'm facing a problem in the car, if I'm facing problems wherever, how can I use these principles of yoga, implement them and go beyond the problem I'm having? That is what we want to do. And towards that effect, we shall begin with the sutras. During the week, we have spoken a little, we have read the sutras and allowed ourselves to think about, to ponder, and to try and relate to them. And today we shall continue that and take it one step further. Just a minute. And today, as we begin our Swadhyaya for the Patanjali Yoga Sutras, let us take a moment and invoke and meditate upon Patanjali, that versatile genius who is considered to be a Shesha avatar, thanks to whom these beautiful sutras were compiled in a sequential manner, beneficial for us to face and transcend the problems we face in our daily lives. We shall do the Dhyan mantra. I have shared the screen for you. Yogena chittasya padena vacham malam sharirasya cha vaidyakena yopakarottam pravaram muninam patanjalim pranjalira natosmi patanjala mahabhashya charaka pratisanskrutaihi मनोवाक्काय दोषाणाम अंतरे हि पतये नमः. Om. Offering pranam to Maharshi Patanjali, seeking his grace as we begin and take the first steps towards understanding the sutras. Let us offer our dedication to Maharshi Patanjali and then gently open your eyes and we shall begin with the sutras. We shall read the 5 sutras. We shall do it 2 times and then we shall look at the grammatical description of each sutra and then we shall understand the significance of each. Sutra 1, Atha Yoganushasanam. Sutra 2, Yogaschitta Vritti Nirodhaha. 3, Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. 4, Vritti Sarupya Mitaratra. 5, Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishta Klishtaha. Once again. 1, Atha Yoga Anushasanam. 2, Yogaha Chitta Vritti Nirodhaha. 3, Tada Drashtu Swarupe Avasthanam. 4, Vritti Sarupyam Itaratra. 5, Vrittayaha Panchatayaha Klishta Aklishtaha. So these are the 5 sutras which we are going to study today. Atha Yoganushasanam. Atha means now, therefore. Here begins the complete instructions on yoga. You see, every word is very crucial. There is no word which has been put there without a specific purpose. When we speak of Atha, we say that now we are beginning. And when we are beginning something, it is a now, therefore. Having studied so far, now we come ahead with the complete instructions on yoga. It is assuming that you have reached some stage in life And then you are desirous of knowing that discipline, self motivated, self created, self imposed discipline, which is yoga. And when we speak of yoga and the instructions of yoga, then we have to understand that to reach this place, we need some background. Yoga is considered to be the practical science of Vedanta. So a smattering of knowledge of the Vedantic philosophy is expected. That there is something known as the body, that there is something known as the senses, something known as the emotions, something known as the mind, and there is something beyond the mind which we are not able to perceive, but that exists. And in fact, that is the true nature of this person. So the concept of Brahman, the concept of Man, the concept of senses, Indriya, and the concept of the Sharir, we need to have some sort of understanding. And all of us have that. We are, of course, aware of the body. And through the mind, in today's times, we use the mind so much. We are also aware of the emotions. And sometimes we think, if I am falling asleep, and if I am doing this, when I'm asleep, if there is a noise, I'm not able to hear it. I don't say the body is not able to hear it. I say I am not able to hear it. But I know that I am waking. I know I am sleeping. Huh? How is it? When I sleep and then when I get up, then it is not that, oh, who am I? I still know I am the same person. This body, which was maybe not more than 5 pounds, 6 pounds at birth, has changed completely in the last 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. How can I say I'm still the same body? Nobody can say it's the same body. I look at the photos and I say, oh, see, such a cute baby. And now he's growing up or she is growing up. But then we imply that there is something which is a continuing factor beyond this changing body. When I sleep, when I wake, when I'm angry, when I'm sad, there is something. Who is that something? That is something which we need to understand, which we need to think about. And when we start thinking about that, then we begin with the instructions about a methodology by which we can practically, in simple practical steps, reach that culmination. That is Atha Yoga Anushasanam. Having known this, the question arises, okay, I know Atha, I know Anushasan, discipline, instructions, information. Okay, fair enough, understand. But what is this yoga? As the question comes in my mind, what is yoga? The next sutra speaks about that. What does it say? Yogaha chitta vritti nirodha. What is yoga? Yoga is the system by which I can block nirodh. I can block the vrittis, the waves coming up in the chitta. What are these waves which come up? What is chitta? Again, creating a question in our mind. For a moment, let us just pause those questions and try to understand this. If I throw a pebble in a lake, the lake is very still and quiet. That pebble, plop, down it goes, and it generates ripples. And these ripples create disturbance. Till the pebble had not gone in, I could stand at the shore of the lake and look down, and I would see my beautiful, clear picture. The moment the ripple came in, all my picture starts getting distorted. The mirror is distorted. If there was mud and dirt below, that comes up and the water becomes muddy. It's no longer transparent. It can no longer reflect, and that is gone. So what is the way to be able to observe my face in the lake again? The only way is to stop these ripples which are coming in. This is the example which has been given. Our mind, for the want of a better word, because English is a limited language as far as yogic terminology is concerned, there can be no clear, exact definition or word for chitta. We all lump it together into the mind. But the Vedic literature speaks of mind as a very specific object. We have got the five senses, which are the external, which allow us to get information from the external source. And they are known as the Bahya Karan. And this mind is the sixth Indriya, sixth sense organ. And it allows us to understand stuff which is within us, not external, but internal. And that is why that is known as the Antahkaran, the inner sense organ. And this Antahkaran consists of four components: Manas, Buddhi, Ahankar, and Chitta. Adi Shankara gives beautiful, clear definitions of each of them. What does he say? What is Chitta? Chintana Kartru Chittaha. That which ponders upon, which cognates, which tries to analyze, that is Chitta. Like the CPU in the computer, it thinks about. The Buddhi analyzes. Ahankar brings out the previous experiences and tells the implications of the input information which has come in based on our previous information and knowledge. But it is the Chitta which meditates upon, which thinks upon, ponders, okay, this is information which has come in, this is what is my past information, these are all the factors which are there. Now what do I do? That is Chitta. And all the information which is coming in from the external sense organs or from the internal sense organs from our memory, that starts creating waves and ripples in this lake called Chitta. And when there are ripples in this Chitta, then the Chitta gets affiliated with those waves, starts identifying with those waves, and starts observing through those waves, just like a filter. If you have got a blue glass, the whole world appears blue. If you have got a yellow filter, the whole world appears yellow. The whole world appears red. Whichever filter we put in, the perception gets colored accordingly. In the same way, whichever vritti the Chitta associates with, identifies with, all the mind starts working as per that information. So that is how we function in the world. And what is yoga? Yoga is blocking these wave patterns which are coming up in the chitta and making that lake still and calm once again. Does it mean that we have to get rid of this world? We don't have to interact in this world. We have to go and sit in the Himalayas all alone in a cave? No, that is not what is yoga. Yoga is facing the world, doing that, still not getting disturbed. Krishna performed all the actions, but he was not disturbed by those actions. He committed great activities, sometimes even startling activities, but he was not identifying with them. He was identifying with himself inside, and therefore he was not disturbed. And the same thing is true with all the yoga experts, the masters of yoga. What we nowadays call as yogi is a person who has some interest in yoga becomes a yogi. A person who practices asana becomes a yogi. No. Yoga Rudh is a different person. A person who has mastered this, stilling the vrittis of the chitta, of the mind. That is yoga. So again, the question comes, when you do this, what happens? That is explained in the third verse, third sutra. Tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam. Why do we have to block these vrittis? What is chitta and what are vrittis? That will be explained later on. But why do we want to do this? What happens if we do this? If we do this, then what? Tada drashtuhu swarupe avasthanam. Then the witnessing principle, the consciousness, which is not doing any activity, that drashtu, witness, the jivatma, swarupe avasthanam. So it starts identifying with its inherent, true, essential, natural form. I am an actor and I am acting, and the role given to me is so powerful that I start identifying with that role, and I forget that I am an individual which is separate from the role to be played. I start thinking, I am that, I am that, I am that. But when the role is over, suddenly I get a shock. Oops, I'm not that. Then who am I? That eternal principle, the Brahman, the Atma, is known as Drashtu. Yoga considers there are two eternal principles in creation. Purusha, Chaitana, Chaitanya Swarup, the consciousness principle, the intelligence principle, the cogniting principle, and Prakriti, Shakti, the dynamic action manifesting principle. Vedantic philosophy calls Purusha as the Drashta, the one who witnesses, the one who observes, but doesn't do anything. That's what a witness is. That witness, which is in this body, who is sitting there calmly observing everything, taking stock of everything, that witness, when you block the waves in the chitta, then that witness starts identifying with its true nature and the effulgent form which it is. But if that doesn't happen, In absence of chitta vritti nirodha, what will happen? Like in our cases, that is explained in the next verse. Sutra 4. Vritti sarupyam itaratra. Itaratra means during other times. During other times, when chitta vritti nirodha has not happened, then what happens? Vritti sarupyam. It becomes as if it is one with it. The laptop screen actually is blank. It doesn't have anything. It doesn't have all those pictures and forms. But suddenly, when the vrittis start appearing in the laptop screen, there is a projection which is taking place from inside. Then suddenly a form starts appearing. If you have been to a movie theater, the screen is blank. But when light is projected on it in a specific manner, it comes alive. And if by chance you are getting into virtual reality, it's not only alive on the screen, it actually starts interacting with you. It's walking in and doing this, that, the other, lifelike. So that screen, which actually is land, it's quiet, it's shant, suddenly becomes as if it is alive, as if sarupyam. It is so like the reality that it appears to us that it is that. You have a glass of water, and if you keep a red cloth behind that cloth glass of water, it appears as if the water is red. You put a blue cloth, green cloth, whatever color you put in, the water appears to be that. And depending on our perception, how true it is or how untrue it appears. Now that we know that, oh, there's a glass, there's a cloth behind, so it's not red. But if suppose we are not aware of that, then we say, oh my God, this water is red. Oh my God, it turns blue. Oh my God, this happens, that happens, that happens. Why? Because water is not changing. It is transparent. Whatever we project from behind that water apparently takes the form of that. That is what happens in our life. When the chitta vritti nirodha has not taken place, then we appear to identify with whatever information is coming in through the chitta and creating a specific ripple. If my wife is in front of me, I am a husband. If my father is in front of me, I am a son. If my child is in front of me, I am a father. If my friend is in front of me, I am a friend. I am the same, but I appear to be different. And sometimes I get so lost into these roles, into the facades, which I have to play, that I identify with that and I forget I am somebody different. And that becomes the source of all the problems. This identification with the object is known as vritti sarupyam. We have been speaking about this vritti. Now, what is this vritti? That is what we are now coming to. The fifth sutra speaks of vrittayaha, panchatayyaha, klishta, aklishtaha. The vrittis are of 5 categories and they are of 2 types. They can create agitation in the mind, pain, sorrow, suffering, anxiety, neurosis, or they do not create that. The vrittis are of 5 categories, but from these 5 categories, again, all these 5 categories can either create agitation or cannot create agitation. When does it create agitation and when does it not create agitation? When vritti sarupyam itaratra, then panchatayyaha vrittayaha klishta asti. When our chitta is identifying with the external sense objects, then it creates that identification with the external sense object creates vrittis. And these vrittis, which are of 5 categories, which we will study later on, they become klishta. They become the source of pain, agitation, sorrow, suffering, and whatnot. But after chitta vritti nirodhaha, then etat vrittayaha panchatayaha aklishtaha santi. These 5 vrittis, 5 categories, they still remain. Yes, I can see this is happening. I am behaving in the world. I am doing everything, but it is not causing any agitation to me. I have gone into a movie and I'm fighting. I'm a hero or I'm a villain, whichever I am. And I'm fighting and I'm playing all that thing. And suddenly, so we were speaking about vrittayaha, panchatayaha, klishta, aklishtaha. Vrittis are of 5 types. And these 5 vrittis can create klishta result inside, or they can create a klishta result inside. If vritti sarupya mitaratra, then the result is klishta. If chitta vritti nirodhaha, and therefore tada drashtu swarupe avasthanam, then the 5 vrittis result in a klishta result. The 5 vrittis, they exist at all times. It is not that once chitta vritti nirodha has taken place that we stop interacting with the world. We don't. We continue to interact with the world, but we interact from a different level of understanding, of experience. Till the time that I was thinking I am the role I am playing, the loss of my, the abduction of the heroine or whatever happens creates a lot of turmoil within me. But the moment I realized, oops, this is nothing but just a movie. After that shot is over, I and the heroine and the villain are going to sit down together and have a nice cup of tea or have some snacks or whatever, then I don't feel affected. Even after knowing that there is no truth in what I am doing, still I do the acting perfectly, the role to perfection. But now I am not troubled by it. That is what is spoken on in Gita. Pashyan, Shrunvan, Sprushan, Jigran, Ashnan, Gachan, Swapanchwasan. A person who experiences this, then what does it happen? He doesn't see, he doesn't hear, he doesn't talk, he doesn't smell. All those things happen through him. Because now, instead of he being a individual unit, he has become a cosmic unit. In terms of today's metaphors, when we have got a big network, then my computer, which has got a limited capacity, when it gets networked, suddenly its capacity becomes exponentially higher. That is exactly what happens. When we connect to that cosmic network, then our ability increases. Till that time, We are limited. So this is in short the 5 sutras which we were looking at in the last week and about which we discussed. We are already late by 10-15 minutes. We started a bit late and then there was an electrical disturbance. But if you have any doubts or any questions or anything you would like to discuss or ask, let us give 10-15 minutes for that. You are able to unmute yourself and ask the question also.
So Swamiji, Namo Narayan. Sushil.
Namo Narayan. Yes, Sushil.
Yeah, Swamiji, I have one question. When we said ripples are always there, so vrittis are always there.
Yes.
And it may cause klishta or aklishta. So I'm not able to understand if vritti is there. Then obviously the water is not very calm and it's not transparent. It may not reflect the correct view. So how is it possible if along with the ripples, how is it possible to have a klishta or klishta?
For
Yeah,
that, you need to
klishta is
know.
okay.
Klishta is okay. Very good question. I like your question because for that you need to know about harmonics. When there are harmonics and the water is the wave is in sync with other things, then the ability changes. That is point number 1. Point number 2 is that till the time we are in the klishta stage, our sense, our ability to perceive is limited to the bahya current, the 5 forms of senses which bring information to me from outside. But when I connect deep within, then I suddenly am connected to the higher reality. I am trying to work with a slowed speed network, and then suddenly, and then suppose there's a Wi-Fi and there are lots of it's a bit far away, the signal is not good, this, that, the other, and then suddenly somebody brings in a LAN cable and puts it in. What happens? My network speed has gone up drastically. If it was a Wi-Fi network, because of the distance and because of other factors, the information which is being received is limited. That is the klishta form of perception. But when you apply this LAN cable, you have suddenly given a separate source of information. That when that source of information comes, it is as if you are having a special glasses which can pierce through and see. You can't see in the normal, when it is dark, you can't see. But if you put infrared glasses, suddenly everything becomes obvious. In the same way, our perception becomes such that the waves are not able to cloud the vision. One is you are able to see through, and second is you have got a higher sense of information which comes in. And that is why then it becomes aklishta. The waves still keep happening, the interaction with the world still happens, but it becomes aklishta.
So when we say yogas chitta vritti nirodha, does that mean that we are not stopping the ripples, but we are just ignoring them, or we have a higher sense of perception to see through those ripples?
First, we have to stop those vrittis. Once we stop those vrittis, then we are able to connect to that higher source of information. That because the water is so muddied, we are not able to find that underwater cable and connect it to our computer. So first we need to stop the vrittis. Means the information is coming, it is being received, but it is not creating an non-harmonious agitation in the mind. Yes, information is coming in, but since it is, let me give you a slightly different example to understand this better. When there is a flow in water, suppose there's a tube, and in the there are two types of flows. One is a lamellar flow and another a turbulent flow. It is a lamellar flow, then lot of information keeps on flowing without any eddies and whirlpools. But the moment the turbulent flow which starts happening, then all the eddies and whirlpools and everything starts coming in. We should understand this to be the conversion of turbulent flow into lamellar flow. And when it becomes lamellar flow, then information is coming in, but it is not creating the eddies and whirlpools.
Got it.
None of you are asking any questions. So and most of you have very kindly turned your videos off also. So I'm at a loss to know if you have understood or if you have got bored and you have gone to sleep. What has happened, I have no idea. A little bit of interaction is needed so that I can understand what is, if you have understood or not, or what is the situation. So please interact, please let me know.
Yes, Swamiji, understood, cleared it is. Thank you so much.
No, it's you see the point is that जब तक interaction नहीं होता है तब
No, it
we
is
are limited. You see,
हाँ,
बाकी in normal times when there's a physical presence, आप कुछ बोलने की जरूरत नहीं है, अपने से पता चलता है. अभी क्या होता है, पता चलता है, तो हम बोले वो आपको समझ में आया या नहीं आया, क्या हुआ. तो इसीलिए आप लोगों को अनुरोध है कि थोड़ा सा response दें. And you don't have to give a response only right now. This is something which I would like to be a continual thing. We keep on thinking, we keep on interacting, and as and when questions come, you are welcome to ask me. ऐसे नहीं कि it's only on Sunday. No, you ask me the questions as and when I get time, I will also reply, and then we can discuss this on Sunday again.
स्वामी जी, इसका टेक्स्ट मिल सकता है क्या, जो आपने मुझे?
Yes, I will be sharing this PDF. I will be sharing it with you, and this recording also I will be sharing, and it will be available for a month or two, so that जो हम बात किए हैं, we can go through it, we can understand it, and we can reflect upon it in an easier manner. I will be sharing it with you. चलिए जी, तो
it's very interesting, Swamiji. We are not bored, that's for sure. We are definitely not bored. Just sometimes people want to be incognito, that's all.
Incognito. That's fine. Now, my only point is, because this topic is so subtle that sometimes we might not get the information, and it might go as a bouncer. That is something which I don't want to happen. And that is why I want, and you see, I am limited by the technology. And so I don't know what is happening at your end. That is why the need for interaction. नहीं तो हम तो बोलते जाएंगे, there is no end to this topic. But the idea is not to speak about it. The idea is so that it transmits across and you also are able to experience that aha moment. If that, then the whole effort is, not so useful. That's why my request for interaction.
No, we are
Great start,
intently,
Swamiji.
intently listening.
Really great starting.
स्मिता जी, आपको समझ में आया या अंग्रेजी आपको समझने में दिक्कत होती है?
स्वामी जी समझ में आया, लेकिन थोड़ा बहुत तो दिक्कत होती है।
अच्छा, अच्छा, ओके, ठीक है, ठीक है. Does everybody understand Hindi over here, or does somebody have difficulty in Hindi? You have difficulty in Hindi.
I don't understand.
ठीक है, ठीक है. So that means नहीं, आगे से हम ख्याल रखेंगे. I will try and speak about it in both languages so that आपको भी समझ में आता है and everybody else also understands. We'll try. ठीक है जी.
Appreciate that, Swamiji.
Today was the first session, so with the introduction it took a bit longer, and hopefully next time we can fit it in 1 hour. And if you have any doubts, any difficulties, I will be most happy to answer them. You can send them to me on my WhatsApp or on the email, both. You have the email?
Yes, yes.
The email, I believe. satyamsumiran@gmail.com. ठीक है जी. So,
Swamiji,
yes,
Namo Narayan, Swamiji, Chitra here.
yes, Chitra.
I wanted to ask, what is the plan for the next weeks? Because we covered all 5 sutras introduction today.
Yes.
So, what is going to happen in the next
In
sessions?
the next week, I would like you to think about what we have spoken about, and at the same time, in the morning mantra booster session, which is from 6:30 to 7, like in the previous week, we just read through the sutras. So we will do 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. We will not do any discussion on that. We will just read that sutra. Like we said, Vrittayaha Panchatayaha, Klishta Aklishtaha. What does it mean to me? I might not know. हमको अंग्रेजी नहीं मालूम है, हमको संस्कृत नहीं मालूम है, लेकिन ये क्लिष्ट शब्द तो मालूम है, वृत्ति शब्द मालूम है. I know some things. So with that, what information I am able to glean? मेरे मन में क्या विचार आते हैं? मेरे मन में, मेरे चित्त में क्या वृत्तियां आती हैं? We should start thinking about it. So during the week, we think, we ponder, we allow ourselves to think. And on Sunday, we go into the classical discussion.
Okay, Swamiji, thank you.
Take
I will write down, note down.
I will share this. I will share this. जो आपको दिए हैं, I will share that with all of you.
Okay, Swamiji.
So, you recommend all of us to attend that mantra session during the week?
It will be very helpful.
I think that is where I lost.
It will be very helpful because, it gives us that 5 minutes where we think, and that stays with us. And in the day, whatever we are doing, बीच में suddenly वो आ जाता है, अरे हाँ आज ये बात हुआ था, oh this was mentioned somewhere, and that allows us to actually integrate it in our life. Because if we don't integrate it in our life, it's of no use. So therefore, it will be very helpful if you join the mantra booster in the morning, 6:30 to 7. Ashita, were you able to understand? Was it okay for you? I think she's not able to. She's.
Yes, Swamiji, I was able
Your voice is breaking. Your voice is breaking.
in a very simple language. I really like. Thank
Okay, okay.
you.
I just heard the last bit.
Can you hear me?
I just heard the last bit that it was in a simple language and you understood it. So I hope that's what you were saying. But anyway, I would like to interact with all of you all throughout the week, whatever difficulty, whatever doubts, whatever thoughts come in, it doesn't have to be only difficulties. Sometimes there can be insights which come in. So all of that is welcome, and let us interact quite a bit. Initially, I had thought not of making another WhatsApp group, because then, we end up having so many groups. But I think it might be better to have a WhatsApp group, so that, our interaction can help others also.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I will create a WhatsApp group, and I will include all of you in that.
Okay.
Ji, Swamiji.
Swamiji,
Swamiji, in this group,
Okay. Okay.
Swamiji, will you be posting the recording of this on the WhatsApp group?
Yes, I will put it in the WhatsApp group.
Yeah, so we can listen to it again, and
Yes.
that will be kind of reinforce what we are learning.
Yes. Yes. I will be doing that.
it would be helpful if you post mantra sessions link also in this group, because
Okay.
anyway group is there.
Yes,
So
yes,
that
we'll do that.
every day we will be reminded of it, and
Okay. Okay. We'll do that.
Thank you.
Yashoda, were you able to understand? Was it okay for you? Okay. Shilpa, were you also able to understand, or it was difficult? And
Swamiji, I need to listen to the recording once again to kind of soak it in, I would say.
okay. Okay.
You explained it very well, but yes, since this is the first time I am getting introduced to something like this,
These
it will take
topics.
some time to
Yes,
decide.
yes.
Yes.
And it is not so easy, especially that is why where for those people who are new, and that is why we are going slow. And for those people who have been practicing for so long, it is also a very good opportunity to actually observe all the information afresh from a new person's and new perspective, so that we understand things better. ठीक है जी. So let us conclude. Namo Narayan. And we will meet again tomorrow
Namo Narayan, Swami.
in the mantra booster session.
Namo Narayan, Swamiji.
Namo Narayan.
Namo Narayan, Swamiji.
Namo Narayan.